Well, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Richard here, and it's day 16 of Tuna Day, Keep the Coronavirus Away, and today is, I think, the 22nd. It's Wednesday the 22nd of April 2020, and thank you again for all your lovely comments. And I will follow up on those. If you've asked me anything, I will do those. So just sit back and relax for the next few minutes while I talk to you about what's been happening today, and then what the tuna day or tunes a day are going to be today from me here in my office music room in Maidstone in Kent, UK, United Kingdom. So first of all, let's just turn to the press, and on the sad note of deaths in care homes. You know that over the last few days I've been talking to you about that, what's arriving in the press, what the government is saying on their 5 o'clock briefing here in the UK. We have the Prime Minister's representative, because Boris Johnson is still recovering from coronavirus himself after being in St Thomas's Hospital in London, and right at the very beginning of what's been going on nationally and internationally as well. Deaths in care homes is, we reckon now it's about 5,000 elderly people have died in care homes from coronavirus. We don't know how many, which is represents about 16%, and we don't know how many, of course, our care staff have died. Those figures aren't available yet, and the government was pressed on that by the leader of the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer, and Dominic Raab was acting as the Prime Minister's representative today. Parliament in the UK, the first time it's been back since the coronavirus and the Easter break, and it's been done partly virtually, so MPs are in their own offices at home, but there's places for, I think, up to 50, and the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, for the Labour Party, and Dominic Raab for the Conservatives, and the leader of the House of Commons is sitting, and that's what's been taking place. You can follow that online if you want to as well. I've signed up to the Guardian YouTube channel, and they were streaming that online, or you can watch it on the BBC News channel. So very interesting times ahead, but some very good interesting facts in the Telegraph today, which I found fascinating reading, having my coffee this morning, sitting in the garden. So my day started fairly early. I went for a nice early run, and along the river, which was very pleasant. So lots of people running as well, and I have to say, I think there's a sense of community creeping in. Certainly people are being more chatty in terms of saying hello and waving, which I haven't noticed before. So and I was doing the same thing. We were, of course, abiding by social distancing, and I think that's sort of people are relaxing a bit more now. No, we're in for a bit of a long haul here, probably by the end of June, I think, now, by looking at what the government is saying, what I'm reading in the press, and what the science is showing us. Though some countries are releasing the lockdown, I just hope that's not premature. So yeah, and there's even some regional deaths actually for and also London, where deaths are occurring. They're on the rise still, and so we need to monitor that. I was taking part in a Zoom conference call today with colleagues from the care sector, and they were reporting there's still a lack of PPE, and still people are being discharged from hospital without being tested. So despite what the government is saying, it's still happening within the sector, the care and support sector, and so interesting times ahead. And these aren't small providers, some of them quite large providers that I work quite closely with. So but again, I'd like to take my hat off to those organisations that support the care sector, namely the National Care Forum, Care England, and the Care Association. And I personally know their chief executives very well, and I work very closely with them. So it was good to see colleagues today face to face, those who were showing their faces on Zoom, on a Zoom conference. Just going back to something that I did a while ago, and that was I spoke to you about going to Bletchley Park, and I found some more information that was actually hiding in the back of the book. First of all, that Tony Sale, who I met, who signed my copy of Bletchley Park people, sadly passed away. And there's a picture of his obituary here that I'll put on as the video progresses. So yes, so he was age 80 and he died on the 28th of August 2011. So it's a nice picture of Tony there, and I'll post a picture of him on there. The other thing is, when I visited Bletchley Park, I actually got a Bletchley Park season ticket when I was there, and that was back in 2010. I can't believe it's that long ago. This is the card, and you'll see that come up in a minute as well. The other thing that was interesting, you get given a map so you can walk around, and all the interesting places, yeah, the Double Agents exhibition there, Alan Turing's area, and basically a very interesting day. And certainly, if you're in the Milton Keynes area over here in the UK, I certainly recommend that you go and pay a visit. And all the money helps to keep the trust going. It's certainly worth a visit there. So I just thought I'd mention that. I know it's going back a bit, but when I was last, but yes, I thought perhaps I'd just say hello on that side, on that note. I'm not going to review any books today. I thought we'd have a break from that, just mix it up a bit. But I thought perhaps I would mention, perhaps tomorrow, when we come back for day 17, any YouTube watches that I've been doing on the previous day, or on that day. So it's quite interesting really is what I watch. You might find the same channels interesting as well, and if you find any interesting ones, particularly around dance bands or you know, any of the other technology stuff that I like watching, let me know in the box below, because I'd certainly like to sign up, because there must be thousands of viewers out there who would like to have their channel given a bit of a showcase. Interesting to note that Netflix, there's been an increase in the amount of people watching Netflix. It's in the millions now, and I've certainly been watching Netflix. I've been watching the series of Caliphate that's on there at the moment. It's a drama series about going to Raqqa and how a couple try to escape from it, and also it's a Swedish film, so it's about the bombing that happened based on truth in Sweden and how they stopped that happening. I won't be a spoiler for the last episode, but it did give me food for thought during the night last night, so yes, a bit worried. So today's music, right, I've done a bit of a recce with the Desmond Carrington After 7 reel-to-reel tape, and I'm going to play you a little bit about Anne Shelton. Now, I know you know that I'm a great fan of Anne Shelton, a little bit more so than Vera Lynn, though I have met Vera on a couple of occasions. I was going to play a track from Vera Lynn's album where she sings with the boys, with the armed forces, but I think we'll leave that for another time. But Anne Shelton did a wonderful number of Lay Down Your Arms, which was a hit in the 50s, and I've got a copy of that. So she sings that on the album, and she's also talks about her life, and that she became she wasn't the Forces sweetheart, she was the Forces something else, which I can't remember, but it's on the tape. And she sings Lily Marlene, and she was told that she was the only artist whereby both sides of the war, that's the Germans and the British, use the same song. And then there's a final clip with her and Bing Crosby, which is quite nice, and she explains a little bit about that. So but I won't spoil that. It lasts about 8 minutes, so I advise that you stay with it, and you'll get a nice shot of my reel-to-reel Akai machine, which I've had in my presence for a long time now, and you know, plays really well. It's a bomb-proof, touch wood, bomb-proof bit of kit. But that's all for today, and thank you for watching. Thank you for all your kind comments, and don't forget to leave more comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, pass this on to people that might be interested, and also push the like button. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 17. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow as planned. All the best. Desmond Carrington, After 7, Anne Shelton, selection from the radio broadcast Lay Down Your Arms Plus.
and Ambrose looked after me.
Which he did, very, very successfully. Jumping forward to 1956, Anne made a record of a song that people assumed had been written especially for her.
It's funny, you know, as I do love singing good songs, I get stuck with a march.
No. It was a Swedish song. It's about, actually, the real lyric is about a man coming home to paint his house. Now, when I heard the music, I said, well, I don't like that for a start. So Paddy Roberts was brought in, and he put the lyric and lay down your arms. And, of course, it caught on. It just went right to the top. And I got letters from the peace people wanted me to march into Trafalgar Square, and I thought, well, I don't want to get caught up in anything like that, because I am a pacifist. I do not believe in war. I believe in defense. It would be wonderful now, at this present moment in time, if the whole world would just lay down their arms and just let's love each other and forget everything, you know. And let's start a clean page and begin the way it should be, but I don't think lay down your arms, the song is going to get that done.
Come to the station, jump from the train, march at the double down Lover's Lane. There in the glen where the roses entwine, lay down your arms, lay down your arms and surrender to mine. My sweetheart is a soldier, as handsome as can be. But suddenly they sent him away across the sea. So patiently I waited until his leave was due. Then wrote and said, my darling, I'll tell you what to do. Come to the station, jump on the train, march at the double down Lover's Lane. Then in the glen where the roses entwine, lay down your arms. Surrender to mine. The girl who loves a soldier is either sad or gay, 'cause first of all he's with her and then he's far away. But soldiers have their duty to answer to the call, and that is why I'm calling the loudest of them all. Come to the station, jump on the train, march at the double down Lover's Lane. Then in the glen where the roses entwine, lay down your arms, lay down your arms and surrender to mine. Lay down your arms and surrender to mine. Lay down your arms and surrender to mine.
It was exactly the same with Lily Marlene. But that was another march, you know, that I used to counteract, well, BBC used me to counteract the Nazi propaganda program that Goebbels was putting out with Lala Anderson. And our boys were listening to that program. And I was at a luncheon speaking to a historian. He told me, he said, you may be interested to know, he said, but your song, Lily Marlene, is the first time in Christendom that the Allies and the enemy have had the same marching song. And then Tommy Connor wrote the lyric for me, and that's, you know, I became the Lily Marlene girl and counteracted Lala Anderson's program. The Germans started listening to my program.
Underneath the lantern by the barricade, darling, I remember the way you used to wait. Was there that you whispered tenderly that you loved me, you'd always be my lily of the lamplight, my own Lily Marlene. Resting in the village just behind the line, even though we're parted, your lips are close to mine. You wait where that lantern softly gleams. Your sweet face seems to haunt my dreams. My lily of the land,
Shelton with Lily Marlene, part of Britain's psychological warfare in the 1940s, involving the charming young songstress whose fame had spread far and wide. For example,
I was doing a show called Anne to You, and it was the time when the musicians were playing jokes on each other. And I got a phone call asking me to go to the Queensberry Club where Bing Crosby wanted to meet me. And I said, I'm very sorry, I couldn't possibly come, I'm having tea with the King. Well, I got another phone call, but this time it was from the overseas chief of broadcasting, Cecil Madden. And he said, Anne, we're waiting for you. Well, I rushed along to the Queensberry Club, and there was the great man himself. And we went out to a packed audience and sang a song. He said to me on the stage, Anne, you're a very pretty girl, and I bet you 2 bob I can kiss you without touching you. I said, all right. Well, he kissed me. And I said, but you touch me. He said, yeah, and here's your 2 bob. And the actual 2 shillings I keep in a little plastic box.
Hey! Anne, how about you and I taking a whack at a duet? Think we... All right?
For years I've been dreaming of this.
Oh, get out. Go ahead, Jack. Lay it on us. In your Easter bonnet, with all those frills upon it, you'll be the grandest lady in the Easter parade. I'll be all in clover, and when they look me over, talk to me. You'll be the proudest fella in the Easter parade. On the avenue, Fifth Avenue, la da da dee da 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 ma ma ba. The birds will snap up, and you'll find that you're in the rosa gravure. I could write a sonnet about your Easter bonnet. Got it. And of the world I'm taking